Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hanging Out with Mrs. Hammond. It's a beautiful day, but Mr. Hammond is outside. He decided he's going to mow and blow off everything, and there's too much noise. So we're going to hang out in the house today. I have a secret to tell you guys. Don't tell anyone though. I haven't washed my hair in 4 days, and maybe five. I don't know. I mean, I've just gone around looking ugly, and so But we're in quarantine, so we can do that. And I even told Mr. Hammond, I said, I like this being ugly. You don't have to do anything. You just get out of bed and you're dressed. Um, but anyway, I woke up this morning and I thought, I just wanted to put on an evening dress or something sparkly. So I put this black top on, and this does not even go with this, but I got this necklace and I put this on, and I thought, well, that makes me feel like I'm going somewhere, and even though I'm not, and I just feel so much better, and I feel like I'm just really ready to read to you guys today because I feel fancy. And I put on these little earrings that go with it also. One thing that I want to do before I read, though, and seriously, I want to start thanking people that have helped you guys and helped the teachers and the staff at the schools to make sure that everything is just ran so smoothly. And every single person, I mean, I just want to thank you. And there are some people that I want to mention. And today I want to thank two people. And if there's some people that you would like for me to mention, I will be happy to do that. You just leave comments and I'll do it. Two people that I want to mention today that I think need to be thanked. And one is she is at the school every single day. She is the one who is leading everyone. She's the worker behind the scenes, and to me, doesn't get the recognition that she should. And that is our superintendent, and that's Mrs. Sandra Quarles. She is an example of excellence. I just love her, and I want to thank her for all that she does for us, for you guys. And even though we don't tell her very often, we want to thank you, Mrs. Quarles, for all of your work. We really, really appreciate it. And another person is the person that is just right under her, and that is Martha Campbell. Mrs. Campbell is just awesome. And I can call Mrs. Campbell and tell her that, oh, the kids need this or the kids need that, or one of the teachers need this or one of the teachers need, and she's right on it. Now, she's going to try to get it for us, and normally she comes through and she does. And so she works just as hard. She's there always working behind the scenes. And I just want to thank you, Martha Campbell. I appreciate you. I love both of them. So, Mrs. Quarles and Mrs. Campbell, a big thank you for all that you have done for us. We really appreciate you. Okay. All right. We are reading Matilda with Roald Dahl, illustrated by Quentin Blake, and it's getting so exciting. I love this book. Miss Paulin introduced me to this book last year, and that was the first year that I had read it to the classes, and I fell in love with it. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. Yesterday we read two great chapters, and the last chapter that we read, she went to visit the parents. Now, how did that go when she went to visit the parents? Not too well. They didn't care. They didn't care what Matilda was. They said they didn't like storybooks. Can you imagine that? So, we're going to continue on today. Before we do, we have vocabulary. But today's chapter is throwing the hammer. I don't know who's going to throw the hammer. What can you predict? Throwing the hammer? The only person that I know yesterday that we learned about that might would throw the hammer would be who? That Trunchbull woman? Oh, surely she wouldn't throw a hammer. We do have some words. Okay, we have Borstal. Borstal is a youth detention center, and these children, when they went to school like you do, we have fun and we enjoy it, and we all are family. But they felt like they were in a borstal, a youth detention center, being punished. That's a horrible feeling. Doubt. If you're feeling doubt or you're acting doubt, you're being silly or foolish. The Limpopo River. Have you ever heard of the Limpopo River? That is a river in South Africa. And that's mentioned in this chapter, so I thought I would put that in. The Limpopo River. Muck. You probably know this word is dirt. Like you go out by the lake and you can get in a lot of muck out there, I can tell you. Dirt. If you're enthralled with something, you're fascinated with it, you're spellbound, you just can't, like I'm enthralled with Matilda. You're spellbound, you're fascinated with it. And skullduggery. Have you ever heard of that word? That means being tricked. Skullduggery. Being tricked. Okay. Is everyone ready? I hope you enjoyed today. And here we go. The nice thing about Matilda was that if you had met her casually and talked to her, you would have thought that she was a perfectly normal 5-year-old little girl. She displayed almost no outward signs of her brilliance, and she never showed off. This is very sensible and quiet little girl, and you would have said to yourself, unless for some reason you had started a discussion with her about literature or mathematics, you would never have known the extent of her brain power. It was therefore easy for Matilda to make friends with other children, and all of her class liked her. And they knew, of course, that she was very clever because they had heard her being questioned by Mrs. Honey or Miss Honey on the first day of term. And they also knew that she was allowed to sit quietly with a book during lessons and not pay attention to the teacher. The children of their age, they don't search deeply for reasons, do they? They are far too wrapped up in their own small little struggles to worry over much about what others are doing and why. Among Matilda's new founded friends was this girl called Lavender. Now, Lavender, we haven't heard of Lavender, have we? Right from the very first day of term, the two of them started wandering round together during the morning break and in the lunch hour, and Lavender was exceptionally small for her age. Oh, she was a skinny little nymph with deep brown eyes and with dark hair that was cut in a fringe across the forehead. Matilda liked her because she was a gusty and adventurous, and she liked Matilda for exactly the same reasons. Before the first week of term was up, awesome tales about the headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, began to filter through the newcomers, and Matilda and Lavender, standing in a corner of the playground during morning break on the third day, were approached by a rugged 10-year-old with a boil on her nose called Hortensia. "New scum, I suppose," Hortensia said to them, looking down from her great height. Oh, she was eating from an extra large bag of potato chips and digging the stuff out in handfuls, like, just eating. "And welcome to Borstal." There it is. Welcome to the detention center, she added, spraying bits of crisp out of her mouth like snowflakes that were just falling out of her mouth. These two tiny ones, confronted by this giant, kept a watchful silence. "Have you met the Trunchbull yet?" Hortensia asked. "Well, we've seen her at prayers," Lavender said, "but we haven't really met her." "Well, you've got a treat coming to you," Hortensia said. "She hates small children, and she therefore loathes the bottom class and everyone in it. She thinks 5-year-olds are grubs that haven't yet hatched," and went fistfuls of crisp. When she spoke again, she sprayed out the crumbs. "And if you survive your first year, you may just manage to live through the rest of your time here." And here is a picture. See, she was a lot taller than Matilda and Lavender. So that's picture. So that many don't survive. They get carried out on stretchers screaming. "I've seen it often." Hortensia paused to observe the effect these remarks were having on these two little ones. Not very much, though. They seemed pretty cool with it. So the large one decided to regale them with some further information. So she's going to tell them some things additional that might upset them. I suppose you know that Trunchbull has a locked up cupboard in her private quarters called the Chokey. Have you ever heard about the Chokey? Matilda and Lavender shook their heads and continued to gaze up at the giant. Being very small, they were inclined to mistrust any creature that was larger than what they were, especially senior girls. The Chokey, Hortensia went on, is a very tall but very narrow cupboard, and the floor is only 10 inches square, so you can't sit down or you can't squat in it. You have to stand. Oh, and 3 of the walls are made of cement with bits of broken glass sticking all out of them so that you can't even lean against it. And you have to stand more or less at attention all the time when you get locked up in there. It's terrible. Can't you lean against the door? Matilda asked. Don't be daft, Hortensia said. The door's got thousands of sharp spiky nails sticking out of it. And they've been hammered through from the outside, probably by the Trunchbull herself. Have you ever been in there? Lavender asked. Huh, my first time. I was in there 6 times. Hortensia said, twice for a whole day, and the other times for 2 hours each. 2 hours is quite bad enough. I mean, it's pitch dark in there, and you have to stand up dead straight. And if you wobble, if you even just wobble a little bit, you'll get spiked either by that glass on the walls or the nails in the door. Whew. Well, why were you put in it? Matilda asked. What have you done? Well, the first time, Hortensia said, I poured half a tin of corn syrup on the seat of the chair that Trunchbull was going to sit on at prayers. It was wonderful. And when she lowered herself into the chair, there was a loud squelching noise similar to that was made by a hippopotamus when it was lowering its foot into the mud on the banks of the Limpopo River. But you're too small and dumb to have read the Just So stories, aren't you? Well, I've read them, Matilda said. You have not, Hortensia said. You can't even read yet. But no matter. So when the Trunchbull sat down on the golden syrup, the squelch was beautiful. And when she jumped up again, the chair sort of stuck to the seat of those awful green breeches that she wears and came up with her for a few seconds until the thick syrup slowly came unstuck. And then she clasped her hands to the seat of her breeches. And both hands got covered in the muck. And you could have heard her bellow forever. But how did you know it was you? Lavender asked. A little squirrel called Ole Bogswhistle sneaked on me. Yeah, she did, Hortensia said. I knocked his front teeth out. And the Trunchbull put you in the Chokey for a whole day? Matilda asked, gulping. All day long, Hortensia said. I was off my rocker when she let me out. I was babbling like an idiot. Well, what was the other things that you did to get put in the Chokey? Lavender said. I can't remember them all, Hortensia said. She spoke with the air of an old warrior who had been on so many battles that bravery had become commonplace. It's all so long ago. She had it stuffing more crisps in her mouth. Yes, I can't remember one. Here's what I remember. I chose a time when I knew that the Trunchbull was out on this way teaching the 6 forms, and I put up my hand and I asked to go to the bogs, but instead of being there, I sneaked into the Trunchbull's room. And after a speedy search, I found the drawer where she kept all of her gym knickers. Go on, Matilda said, spellbound. What happened next? I had sent away by post that you see for that very powerful itching powder stuff, and I ordered it. Hortensia said it cost like a packet. It cost like $1 a packet. It was called the Skin Scorcher. The label said that it was made from the powdered teeth of deadly snakes, and it was guaranteed to raise welts the size of walnuts on your skin. Oh, so I sprinkled this stuff inside of every pair of knickers in the drawer. And then folded them all up again very carefully. Hortensia paused to cram more crisp into her mouth. Did it work? Lavender asked. Well, Hortensia said, a few days later, during prayer, the Trunchbull suddenly started scratching herself like mad down below. I said to myself, here we go. She's changed from Jim already. It was pretty wonderful to be sitting there watching it all, knowing that I was the only person in the whole school who realized exactly what was going on inside the Trunchbull's pants. And I felt safe too. I just knew I couldn't be caught. Well, then the scratching got worse, and she couldn't stop. I mean, she couldn't stop scratching. She was just scratching everywhere. Well, in her pants and all. And oh my gosh, and I felt safe. But she couldn't stop, and she must have just thought that she had a wasp nest down there. And then right in the middle of the Lord's Prayer, she leapt up and grabbed her bottom and rushed out of the room. Ah! Both Matilda and Lavender were enthralled. It was quite clear to them that they were at this moment standing in the presence of a master. Oh, here was somebody who had brought the art of skullduggery to the highest point of perfection. Somebody, moreover, who was willing to risk her life and limb in pursuit of her calling. Well, they gazed in wonder at this goddess, and suddenly even the boil on her nose was no longer a blemish, but a badge of courage. But how did she catch you that time? Lavender asked, breathless with wonder. Well, she didn't, Hortensia said, but I got a day in the chokey just the same. Well, why? They both asked. Because the Trunchbull, Hortensia said, has a nasty habit of guessing. And when she doesn't know who the culprit is, she just makes a guess at it. And the trouble is that she's often right. I was the prime suspect this time because of that golden syrup, that job. And although I knew that she didn't have any proof, nothing I said made any difference. I kept shouting, how can I have done it, Miss Trunchbull? I didn't even know you kept any spare knickers at school. I didn't even know what itching powder is. I never heard of it. Oh, the lying, it didn't help me in spite of any great performance I put on. And the Trunchbull just simply grabbed me by one ear, and raised me, to the chokey at the double and threw me inside, and locked the door. That was my second all-day stretch. It was the absolute torture. I was spiked and cut all over when I came out of there. Oh, it's like a war, Matilda said. Overall? You're right, it's like a war, Hortensia cried, and the casualties are terrific. We are the Crusaders and the gallant army fighting for our lives with hardly any weapons at all. And the Trunchbull is the Prince of Darkness and the foul serpent, the fiery dragon with all the weapons at her command. Tough life. We all try to support each other. You can rely on us, Lavender said, making her height of 3 feet 2 inches stretch as tall as she possibly could. No, I can't, Hortensia said. You're only strengths, but you never know. We may find a use for you one day in some undercover job. Tell us just a little bit more about what she does, Matilda said. Please do. Oh, I mustn't frighten you before that you've been here a week, Hortensia said. Oh, you won't, Lavender said. We may be small, but we're quite tough. Well, listen to this then, Hortensia said. Only yesterday, the Trunchbull caught a boy called Julius Rotwinkle eating licorice. Now, all sorts during the scripture lesson, and she simply picked him up by one arm and flung him clear out of the open classroom window. Our classroom is 1 floor up, and we saw Julius Rotwinkle go sailing over the garden like a frisbee and landing with a thump in the middle of the lesson. Then the Trunchbull turned to us and said, from now on, anybody caught eating in this class goes straight out that window. Did this Julius Winkle break any bones, Lavender asked. Well, only a few, Hortensia said. I mean, you've got to remember that the Trunchbull once threw the hammer for Britain in the Olympics, so she's very proud of her right arm. What's throwing the hammer? Lavender asked. The hammer, Hortensia said, is actually a ruddy great cannonball on the end of a long bit of wire. And then the thrower whisks it around and around his head, and then it gets faster and faster and faster and faster, and then lets it go. You have to be terribly strong. The Trunchbull will throw anything around just to keep her arm in, especially if she likes to throw children around. Good heavens, Lavender said. Well, I once heard her say, Hortensia went on, that a large boy is about the same weight. And here's her throwing that little boy out the window. Can you believe it? By one arm. Slung him over her head. Threw him out the window. So, as an Olympic hammer, and therefore he's very useful for practicing with it. That's what she said. At that point, something strange happened in the playground, which up to then had been filled with shrieks and the shouting of children at play, and all at once it became silent to the grave. Watch out, Hortensia whispered. Matilda and Lavender glared around and saw the gigantic figure of Miss Trunchbull advancing through the crowds of the boys and the girls with menacing stride, and the children drew back hastily to let her through, and her progress across the asphalt was like that of Moses going through the Red Sea when the waters parted. Well, a formidable figure that she was too, in her belted smock and green breeches, and below the knees her calf muscles stood out like grapefruits inside of her stockings. Amanda Thripp, she was shouting. You, Amanda Thripp, come here. Oh, hold your hats, Hortensia whispered. What's going to happen? Laughing whispered back. Oh, that Amanda, Hortensia said, has let her long hair grow even longer during the holes, and her mother has plaited it into pigtails. Silly thing to do. Was it silly? Matilda asked. Like, there's one thing that the Trunchbull can't stand, it's pigtails, Hortensia said. Matilda and Lavender just saw this giant in green breeches advancing upon a girl of about 10 who had a pair of plaited golden pigtails hanging over her shoulders, and each pigtail had a blue satin bow at the end of it, and it all looked very pretty. Here's the Trunchbull, and there's the little girl with the beautiful little golden pigtails with the little blue bows. The girl wearing the pigtails, Amanda Thripp, stood quite still, watching the advancing giant, and the expression on her face was one that you might find on the face of a person who is trapped in a small field with an enraged bull, which is charging flat out towards her. And the girl was glued to the spot, terror-struck, pop-eyed, quivering, knowing her certain that the day of judgment had come for her at last. Miss Trunchbull had now reached the victim and stood towering over her. I want these filthy pigtails off before you come back to school tomorrow, she barked. Chop them off. Throw them in the dustbin, and you understand me? Amanda was paralyzed with fright, and she managed to stutter. Mummy likes them. She plaids them for me every morning. Your mummy's a twit, the Trunchbull bellowed. She pointed a finger the size of a salami at the child's head and shouted, you look like a rat with a tail coming out of its head. Mummy thinks I look lovely, Miss Trunchbull. Amanda stuttered, shaking like she was just gonna die. Give a tinker's toot what your mummy thinks, the Trunchbull yelled, and with that she lunged forward and grabbed hold of Matilda's pigtails in her right fist and lifted that girl clear off the ground, and then she started swinging her around and around and around, faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and the girl, she got her off of the ground, and and she was screaming, help me, please help me, murder. And the Trunchbull was yelling, I'll give you pigtails, you little rat. In shades of the Olympics, Hortensia murmured, she's getting up speed now. She's just like she does with the hammer. 10-1, she's going to throw her. Oh, and now the Trunchbull was leaning back against the weight of the whirling girl and pivoting expertly on her toes, spinning around and around, and soon Amanda Thrift was traveling fast, and she became a blur, and suddenly with a mighty grunt, the Trunchbull, let go of those pigtails, and Amanda went sailing like a rocket right over the wire fence of the playground and high up into the sky. Here she is. She's got her by both pigtails. And the kids are just like, oh. Well thrown, sir, someone shouted from across the playground, and Matilda, who was mesmerized by the whole crazy affair, saw Amanda Thrift descending in a long, graceful parabole to the playing field beyond. She landed on the grass and bounced, boom, 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 3 times, and finally came to a rest. And then amazingly, she said, she looked like a trifle dazed, and who could blame her? But after a minute or so, she was on her feet again and tottering back toward the playground. The Trunchbull stood in that playground, dusting off her hands. Not bad, she said, considering I'm not in strict training. Not bad at all. Then she strode away. She's mad, Hortensia said. But don't the parents complain? Matilda asked. Would yours? Hortensia asked. I know mine wouldn't. She treats the mothers and fathers just the same as she does the children, and they're all scared to death of her. I'll be seeing you sometime, you two. And with that, she sauntered away. And that's the end of chapter 10. And I hope you enjoyed that. Wow, Miss Trunchbull, that's terrible what she's doing to those poor children. She's terrorizing them. The next chapter that we're going to be reading is chapter 11, and it's called Bruce Bogtrotter and the Cake. Oh, this is one of my favorite chapters. And I'll come back later and read that to you, okay? You guys have a great day. It's a beautiful day outside. If you get a break, go out and enjoy the sun. And I'll see you later. Bye.